Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. This week I am 30 weeks pregnant. 30 weeks is a huge milestone for triplets, so we are super excited that we have made it this far. Not much has changed from last week to this week. We have a doctor's appointment in just a couple of days. I will be 31 weeks, and so we will do a vlog and take you guys with us to the doctor's office and do a big update with baby stats and everything then. But this week I thought it would be fun to sit down and tell you the story of Cohen's birth. Cohen is our oldest. He is almost 6. And his birth story is kind of crazy. So I'm going to do my best to keep this as short as I possibly can because I don't want this to get too long. And so I'm just going to kind of cover all of it and not really go into a ton of detail. So I got pregnant with Cohen in March of 2015. We had been trying for about 9 months when we got pregnant with him. I was due November 29th, and it was a pretty smooth pregnancy. I was really sick the whole time. I threw up probably 4 to 5 times a day, which wasn't very fun, but I wasn't extremely sick. I didn't need IVs or anything like that. I just had a hard time keeping certain things down. So other than that, it was a really smooth pregnancy. It was our first. We were super excited, so we went through all the firsts of everything, just the experience of being pregnant for the first time. So when I hit about 37 weeks, which was 2 weeks before he was born, in November, I went to the doctor and I got checked and I was at a 2 and I was 80% effaced. So we were really excited and we were really hopeful that he was going to come before his due date. We made 4 total visits to the hospital, including the day he was born. So between that doctor's appointment and the time he was born, I had been having lots of contractions, and every time that we went to the hospital, they were closer together, and so they told us to come back in if they ever got closer and closer, and they did every time. Our hospital that we delivered at only admits you when you're at a 5. And I was stuck at a 3 for 2 weeks. So we were feeling pretty discouraged at that point. And I decided that I was going to try to do everything that I could to get him out before my due date. My parents had been gifted a free cruise from their bosses. And the day they were leaving was my due date. So I told my mom to just go. I felt confident that Cohen was going to come before then. And I didn't want my parents to miss out on getting a free trip for all their hard work. Though about a week before he was born, I decided I was going to start doing everything I possibly could to get him out. I did raspberry leaf tea, I did long walks, I had spicy foods, I bounced on a bouncy ball. Basically everything they tell you to try to do to get your baby out, I did it. I ended up getting so desperate that I took castor oil. I do not recommend taking castor oil unless you have your doctor's permission. I did not have my doctor's permission, and I realized it was probably not the greatest idea and not the best thing to do. But at the time, I was really desperate, and I just wanted my baby out. I was super young, first-time mom. I didn't know any better. But I did castor oil, and I did 2 doses of it in orange juice. That's what I drank it with, and it was the nastiest thing I've ever tasted in my entire life, and I would never do it again. I took it in the evening. This was the day before Thanksgiving, so it was November 25th. I took it in the evening about 7 p.m. and then again I don't remember, maybe 9 p.m. And then later that night around 11:30, my contractions were every 30 seconds to a minute apart. So we decided that we were going to go to the hospital again, and when we got there, we got checked, and I was still at a 3. They watched me for an hour. I did not progress, so they sent us home again. At that point, we were feeling pretty defeated, kind of almost like we were putting our hands up in the air and saying, never mind, whatever, he's going to come when he comes. We went to bed, we got home and went to bed around 1 a.m. Then I woke up at 4. That same night, and I was tossing and turning. I was in a lot of pain. I started to pace around my house. I tried changing positions. I tried taking a hot bath. I just tried all the things to see if I could feel comfortable or if they'd go away. and my contractions did not go away. They almost seemed to not even stop. So I woke Karsten up about 6 a.m. and we grabbed our hospital bags and went back to the hospital. We only lived like 10 minutes away from our hospital at the time, so it wasn't too bad of a drive. We got to the hospital, they put me in triage room, and they checked me, and I was finally at a 5. So they admitted me and got me into a room and got me into my gown and all of that. We got there probably like 6:15 to 6:30, and I got my epidural at 7, which was pretty quick. So I was able to relax and rest most of the day. It took me from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. to get to a 10, from a 5 to a 10. So I just relaxed most of the day. We watched a lot of TV. We just kind of hung out. We had family come and go, come in, check on us, and leave. They all still did their Thanksgiving dinners and all of that. So once we got to about 8 o'clock at night, I hit a 10, and the doctor came in to check me. And when he checked me, he realized that Cohen was in a posterior position, which meant that his face was up instead of down in the birth canal. So the doctor then wanted me to push for 2 hours to see if I could get him just a little bit lower so that he could get in there and flip his body so that his face would be down. So I pushed for 2 hours. My mom was in the room, my sister was taking pictures, and my mother-in-law and Karsten were also in the room. So I pushed for 2 hours. The doctor came back in. At this point, I was exhausted. I had been pushing for 2 hours. The doctor came in, checked me again, and Cohen had not even moved. They said maybe he moved a half an inch. So then the doctor told me that I needed to get ready for a birthday, which meant I needed to have a C-section because he was worried Cohen was going to start going into stress. I had been laboring long enough, and it was just the best option at that point since he was stuck. So they got me all prepped. They got Karsten all prepped. I was terrified. I was not expecting to have a C-section. I really didn't even know anything about C-sections. And so I was terrified, and I cried my eyes out because I was really scared. And I really wanted my mom to be able to be in there with me. You just need your mom sometimes. But they would not allow anybody but Karsten to come into the operating room with me. So we got into the operating room, and it was just, everything went so fast. I don't even remember most of it because I was super loopy and out of it, and I was super exhausted and tired. As you can see from the pictures that I'm going to put up in here, you can just see it in my face. You can see how tired I am, how exhausted I look. I'm just defeated. I'm so out of it. My lips were chappy, my face was red, just everything was in that moment just kind of came crashing down, and it hit me. I was so exhausted. So I really don't remember much of Cohen's birth. I remember hearing him cry, and I remember Karsten bringing him over to me, and we kind of cried together as we looked at him. And they put him on my chest for a minute, but that's all I remember. As they were wheeling me away into my recovery room, the doctor came out to talk to my family, who were all there, even Karsten's family, waiting in the waiting room to hear what was going on, make sure I was okay, and make sure that Cohen was okay. My poor dad was pacing up and down the hall the whole time I was having my C-section. He was just really worried about me, and it was just kind of a stressful time for everybody because it wasn't planned. It wasn't part of a plan. It just was kind of scary. So once I got to my recovery room, my family was able to come in. They all got to see Cohen for a minute, and I don't even really remember that. I was so tired. I wanted everybody out of there. I wanted to sleep. So the nurse let me sleep for about an hour as they watched me. They have to monitor you for an hour after your C-section. So she let me sleep during that time. And while I slept, Karsten and Cohen went with another nurse up to the nursery. And when I woke up, I was all by myself, and I rang for the nurse, and she wheeled me up to my recovery room, and that's when I saw Karsten, and Cohen was in there, And that's kind of when I really got to meet Cohen for the first time, because I actually wasn't, I slept off the drugs. I remembered all of it at that point. So that was my first time really meeting Cohen and getting to really hold him and all of that. We stayed in the hospital for about 4 days after that, and it was just us three, and we loved it, and we had visitors, and everyone came to see him, and it was really fun. He was a really good baby. He weighed 9 pounds, 10 ounces. That's how big he was, and that's why he wouldn't come out. He was so stuck in my pelvis that the doctor told me and my family there was no way that he was coming out the birth canal naturally. There was just no way. Cohen's face was actually all red right here, all around his chin, and he had some scratches from my bones, just because he was so stuck for so long, that he was just kind of rubbing up against those bones, and it scratched him up a little bit. He was such a good baby. He woke up 2 or 3 times a night for the first 2 weeks, and after he was 2 weeks old, he slept through the night. He was just so happy and content, and he ate so much, and he was just so chubby that he really just was such a good baby. We called him our Thanksgiving turkey because he was our Thanksgiving turkey that year, because he was just so big, and we were not expecting to have such a big baby. And now he's almost 6, and he is just the little light of our lives. We love him so much, and I just cannot imagine our life or our family or anything without him. He brings so much joy to everybody. He's so goofy, and he's so fun to be around, and I just love him with all my heart. And I'm so excited to see him be a big brother again, now that he's older and he understands babies a little more. When Ella was born, he was almost 2, and so he didn't really have that excitement that he does now. And now he is so excited for these babies, and I'm excited to see him be a big brother, and help me out with these babies. So thanks for sticking with me through all of that. I really did try to get through that as fast as I could, just because it is so detailed and so long. And I don't want this video to be too long. So thank you so much for watching, you guys, and we will see you guys in our next update in just a couple of days when we go to the doctor and we get to see the babies again. Probably for maybe the last time. I have a feeling they're coming within the next couple of weeks. So we will do that update, and you guys can go to the doctor's office with us. And later after that, I'm going to do a little video with Ella's birth story. She was a planned C-section because of all of this that happened with Cohen. I opted for a planned C-section. So instead of sitting down and telling you about her birth story, I'm actually going to show you, because we actually have her birth on video, and so I am really excited for you guys to see it. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you haven't, and if you're new to our channel, and hit the bell button to receive notifications for every time we upload a video, and make sure to like the video too. And we will see you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for being here and for following along on our little journey with our triplets. Bye, guys.